clerk please call the roll? The September 13th, 2022 special meeting of the Monroe County Legislature will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Alcoffer. Mr. Alcoffer is present. Ms. Barnhart. Ms. Barnhart is present. Mr. Baines. Mr. Baines is present. Mr. Blankley. Mr. Blankley is present. Mr. Brew. Mr. Brew is present. Mr. Burgess. Mr. Burgess is present. Mr. Colby. Mr. Colby is present. Mr. Delahanty. Mr. Delahanty is present. Ms. Delvecchio Hoffman. Ms. Delvecchio Hoffman is present. Mrs. DeFlorio. Mrs. DeFlorio is present. Mr. Dondorfer. Mr. Dondorfer is present. Mr. Frazier. Mr. Frazier is present. Ms. Hasman. Ms. Hasman is present. Mr. Hebert. Mr. Hebert is present. Ms. Hughes Smith. Ms. Hughes Smith is present. Mr. Johns. Mr. Johns is present. Mr. Keller. Mr. Keller is present. President Lamar.
Here.
President Lamar is present. Mr. Long. Mr. Long is present. Mr. Mafucci. Mr. Mafucci is present. Mr. Marinetti. Mr. Marinetti is present. Mr. McCabe. Mr. McCabe is present. Mr. Milne. Mr. Milne is present. Ms. Roman. Ms. Roman is present. Ms. Smith. Ms. Smith is present. Ms. Taylor. Ms. Taylor is present. Ms. Vasquez Simmons. Ms. Vasquez Simmons is present. Ms. Vecchio. Ms. Vecchio is present. Mr. Udelson. Mr. Udelson is present.
Please join me in a moment of silent prayer. Please stand as I will now lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We will now hold the public forum. We have several people registered to address this legislator. Mr. Clerk?
If you require assistance, a deputy is available to assist you in approaching the lectern. I will call 3 people forward at one time. Each speaker will have 2 minutes in which to address the legislature, and kindly conclude your remarks when the timer sounds, and then exit back to where you came from. Our first 3 speakers will be Megan Goki. Joshua Kuttner, my apologies, and Robin Brown.
Ready?
Yep.
All right. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, members of the county legislature. My name is Megan Goki. I am an assistant public defender here in Monroe County. I started at the Monroe County Public Defender 2 years ago with only 1 year of practice under my belt. I was, and I still am, a new attorney. Tonight, I'm asking you to consider not only who the people speaking tonight from the Public Defender's Office want, but why. In the 2 years I've worked here, I have admired Ms. Cianca. Others will talk about her legal qualifications and expertise, but I'd like to talk about her as a mentor in the office. I remember meeting Julie for the first time and really hoping that her offer to help in any way was sincere. And she was sincere. I remember the first time going into her office with what I now realize was a really simple question. Julie invited me in and listened. She explained the simplest of answers in a way that I understood. She connected with me, and she used her limited time to make sure I knew the whats and the whys of what I was there for. And then she told me how she would look for the answer had she not already known it. In that small interaction, she enhanced the way that I practice law. And it's not just me. She connects with almost every attorney in our office that way. Julie will never turn down a question. She never holds up in her office. Her door is always open, figuratively and literally. I run into Julie on the weekends oftentimes, and I'm well aware that she's trying to get her own work done. But because of her love of this job and her care for our clients, she will take time to walk me through an argument, to show me how to find cases, and to explain different strategies. Not only does she care about our staff being well trained to provide the best representation we can, she genuinely cares about each and every client. She looks at things from their points of view. She takes extra time to explain things to clients. Thank you. I'm asking that you please vote for Julie Sianka for the next Monroe County Public Defender.
1 minute before you start, we called Mr. Brown. I saw him just walk in. So if he can come up here as well. You can come this way, sir.
Thank you.
Once he sits.
Once he sits, of course,
Yeah.
thank you.
Come on. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joshua Kuttner. I'm a criminal defense attorney with the Monroe County Public Defender's Office, and I'm here today in support of Attorney Julie Sianka. It would not be difficult for me to stand up here and talk for the next hour as to why Julie is the right candidate for this job. But for the sake of everyone's time, I'll be brief and to the point. I started working at the Public Defender's Office in May of 2018 after spending a few years doing similar work in Chemung County. Throughout my time here, Julie's door has always been open. She's always made time to talk about a case, give advice, and make recommendations. Whether it be when I shuffle in through that door in the wee hours of the morning, at lunch when we're eating a sandwich in one hand, reviewing cases with another, or even late at night, well after office hours have concluded. That helpfulness is what we need in a public defender. I've been there as she's passionately defended her clients. I've heard the conviction in her voice and have seen the fire in her eyes as she fights and she fights and she fights. Always emerging, always standing, never broken. That passion, that fortitude, that sheer force of will is what we need in a public defender. I know that if Julie wanted to be anywhere else, she could be, easily. Any private criminal defense team would take her in a heartbeat, and if given the opportunity, they would be all the better for it. But she stays here. She stays here in this job, not for the glory, not for the pay. She does it, because she believes in what she does. And that's not just what you need in a public defender. You need that belief in every important position. Julie Sianka is the type of attorney that every single one of my colleagues wants to be like, myself included. And frankly, if there's one attorney that an entire office of attorneys wants to be like, it makes sense that she should be the one to lead them. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. I don't know if I can add anything that the distinguished gentleman didn't already put out there. However, I am here as well. My name is Robin Brown. I am a retired 27-year, 2-month, and 18-day Monroe County Deputy Sheriff Sergeant. I met Julie when she was an intern for the DA's office. And I can say I've never met, you meet a lot of attorneys working in the jail and in the court system, and I've never met an attorney that was more dedicated to her craft than she is. I think it would be a tremendous loss to our community to choose anyone besides her. I have nothing against the other candidate. However, knowing firsthand what she has done in this community, having worked in the building where she's working to defend some people who basically have no one else to defend them, and the veracity and the determination and the tenacity that she showed in doing that job impressed me. She's a friend of mine. I'm not gonna try to play any games and act like I don't know her. I just met her 5 minutes ago. I've known her for almost 30 years. So, and I'm not a person who throws compliments around lightly. You actually have to do something for me to say you did a good job. So, no, there's so, I mean, let's face it, today people are getting paid to do nothing, you know, and getting paid handsomely. So here's a person who's worked hard, who started from nothing. And like I said, not nothing, but started at the bottom and worked her way to where she should be. And hopefully this body will see that the person that is before them is not only a phenomenal candidate, but a hardworking one as well. And she would be an exemplary attorney for the Public Defender's Office. Thank you for your time. Have a good night.
Our next three speakers are David Pilato, Mary Beth McCartney, and Don Thompson.
Good evening, everyone. My name is David Pilato, and I am a local attorney in private practice. I am here tonight to support my friend and my colleague, Julie Sianka, a finalist for the Monroe County Public Defender. I know Julie very well, both professionally and personally. She and I spent a good part of the summer of 2017 together trying a case. I witnessed firsthand what Julie is capable of in the courtroom. She's one of the best, if not the best, trial attorneys in this community. But she's much more than a brilliant trial lawyer. She is smart, she is compassionate, she is ethical, hilariously funny if you come to know her, and somebody whom so many of us turn to for advice. She's always willing to share her expertise and opinion on cases, not just with those in the public defender's office, but those of us who are in the private bar, we turn to her as well. She has a very logical and practical approach to criminal defense, and she absolutely knows what she's talking about. And many of us also turn to Julie, not work-related, but when we simply need a good friend or a good laugh in this stressful profession that we're in. Julie is absolutely a leader and a wonderful person. I've never been in the public defender's office, but many of my colleagues are or have been at one point in time. And the assistant public defenders that I know and the ones that you've already heard from feel the exact same way about Julie. She is absolutely, unequivocally the right person for this job. In trying to prepare some remarks for tonight, I went on the Monroe County Public Defender's website, and there is a description of the office on the landing page. And in the description, it states, guided by the requirements of the constitutions of the United States and of New York and the New York rules of legal ethics, the attorneys and staff of this office strive to ensure that each client receives high quality and zealous representation.
Please summarize.
With Julie at the helm, there will be high quality and zealous representation. There will be ethical representation. She has demonstrated throughout her career that upholding the dignity of each client is a prime factor in her representation of the indigent accused, and she is absolutely the right person for the job. Thank you very much.
My name is Mary Beth McCarthy, and I'm currently a senior assistant public defender for Monroe County. I've had the pleasure to work with Julie Sianka for the last 7 years. She has been my mentor from day one, and it's really hard to even put into words what she has done for myself and what she has done for the other attorneys and staff in the office. Any successes that I have had as an attorney can pretty much be attributed to her. I've been lucky enough to second chair trials with her, and have had her not just by my side, but also in my corner. My coworkers and I can call or text Julie any time of the day, and she is there for us. It's very rare to find her office empty, as she is who we all go to for all of our questions because she has the experience and the knowledge that matters. She is never judgmental and always listens with an open heart and an open mind. The level of trust that she has in the legal community is unprecedented. I am often in her office asking her a question when her phone rings with an attorney from the private bar, and they're hoping to pick her brain due to her wealth of knowledge and experience. Julie has done more jury trials than anyone in our office, and I think I would be correct in saying she has done more jury trials than any other attorney in our county. The Monroe County Public Defender's Office is known for taking cases to trial and having great success doing so. Julie is a key reason for that. Women are extremely underrepresented in leadership roles in just about every single field, including the legal field. The Monroe County Public Defender's Office has never had a woman appointed by the legislature to lead our office, and it would be a historical moment for them to do so now. Julie is more than just a female attorney. No one has the experience that she has. She has taken on a leadership role, and it has been amazing to experience. Having a woman like Julie Sianka to look up to is critical for female attorneys. I ask that you all take into consideration how much Julie Sianka means, not just to the legal community, but to our office, and that you choose her as our next leader, the Monroe County Public Defender. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Donald Thompson. I'm the managing partner of Easton, Thompson, Kasparek, Schifrin. We're all criminal defense attorneys. That's all we do. We have 35 years or more, each of the partners in the criminal defense field. We've worked alongside the public defender's office for that entire time. We've had an opportunity to see how they operate, and we know Julie Sianka very well. I've known Julie for most of those years. I've seen her manage in the public defender's office. I've had her as co-counsel in cases that I've litigated. She has impeccable qualifications. Look, let's be honest. This group here, you know nothing about what's involved in the representation of indigent criminal defendants. And we know everything because we've lived it. It's our lives, and it has been since we got out of law school for most of us. And you know, there is only one candidate here that has the qualifications to manage this public defender's office, and that's Julie Sianka. Apparently, there's some perception that it's very important to have an African-American candidate. That's the only qualification that Mr. Fogg has, who I never heard of in the public defense community until he was nominated for this position, that Julie Sianka can't match. Other than that, she's head and shoulders above any other potential candidate. Is this political tug of war that you all are engaging in is hurting the public defender's office, which has a reputation, has long had a reputation as one of the finest public defender's offices in the state. Put an end to it. Vote. Let's have a public defender who can lead this office into the next generation. You've heard from the people that work with her. They want her. Vote for Julie Sianka.
Our last two speakers are Larry Kasparek and Ann Pfeiffer.
Nice company, Ann. Thanks.
Also?
Good evening. My name is Larry Kasparek. I'm one of the partners in Easton, Thompson, Kasparek, and Schifrin. We're considered the dinosaurs of the criminal justice field. You've already heard from my managing partner. The reason we're here is because we share the passion of our colleagues at the Public Defender's Office, of which I'm a former member, frankly, and of the members of the criminal bar that try to do two things. Try to ensure that those among us who are less privileged receive the same quality of representation and effective assistance and the protection of their due process rights against overzealous and inappropriate prosecution and candidly wrongful convictions. Now, I can tell you that I came upon this gray hair honestly, and that Ms. Sianka was a former colleague of mine at the PD's office, and I consider her a colleague in the practice that we have here in Monroe County. Long ago, the county recognized that the less privileged members of our community were entitled to as effective representation as members who could afford counsel. That's what the mission of the Public Defender's Office was, is, and continues to be. And if you don't have that passion for those constitutional protections or for your belief in the humanity of another human being, you're not long for the public defender's office, or you don't go there in the first place. So I can tell you that she's recognized as competent, capable, and diligent in her practice, in her companionship with other members of the bar, and the county would be privileged to have her as a representative of the institution that they created, the Monroe County Public Defender's Office. Thanks for your comments and your time. Thank you.
Hello, everyone and legislators. I'm Ann Pfeiffer. I'm a retired city court judge. I did that for 20 years. I also served as a per diem family court judge in the domestic violence part for 4 years after my retirement. I worked at the Public Defender's Office for the first 3 years of my career. I worked under the direction of Ed Nowak. Since Ed Nowak was appointed the Public Defender's Office in the 1970s, and through the time that Tim Donaher has run the office, it has been not at all political, but rather a highly professional office. As I saw the office for the 24 years that I was on the bench, I saw the quality of the office, the dedication of the office, and the quality of the attorneys who work there. Julie Sianka came to my attention when I was already a judge, so I knew her from the beginning of her career. She has worked at the Public Defender's Office for 26 years and in the criminal defense organizations. She has lived here in this county for all of that time. The Public Defender's Office is a respected criminal defense firm, as you've heard from the other speakers. It is respected throughout the state. It is your responsibility to make sure that continues. Julie Sianka is the only responsible choice you have. She has devoted all of her career to indigent criminal defense work here in Monroe County. At the Public Defender's Office, she has supervised at least 3 different bureaus or sections. For 11 years, she has mentored new attorneys and supervised more experienced attorneys. This is in addition to all of her trial work that you've already heard about. She represented and represents the most vulnerable and the most unpopular clients. It is your responsibility to make sure that that kind of a leader is who this county has to represent and organize and run the Public Defender's Office. Thank you very much.
We will now proceed with,
This concludes the public forum of the special meeting.
thank you. We will now proceed with the consideration of motions, resolutions, and notices. Will the clerk read the next item on the agenda?
Item number 1, introduction of new referral, appointment of Julie A. Sianka as public defender.
Who was that? Moved by Legislator Baines, seconded by Legislator Hasman. This is a motion to intro. All in favor? Thank you. All in favor to intro this motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
Item number 2, motion to commit appointment of Julie A. Sianka as public defender to the Public Safety Committee.
Moved by Legislator Roman, second by Legislator Hebert. Was there someone else?
Legislator Baines.
This is a motion to commit to public safety. Is there any discussion? Go right ahead.
Just want to thank this body for moving forward. We understand that there hasn't been a public defender appointed for 250 days plus. I'm looking forward to the continued conversations as we move forward to appoint the next public defender. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Item carries. Next item.
That's it.
There being no unfinished business, Legislator Brew.
Thank you, President Lamar. This would conclude the special meeting of the legislature.